Hi, Kim. We've started the webinar. We're going to do the countdown timer shortly. Hi, Kim.
Hi.
And we're about to allow already all of the registrants to come in just for your information. Thank you, Kim. Uh, we will communicate with you through the Viber backstage.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Women of the Web 3.0 event. This event is made possible by the Fintech Philippines Association. I'm sure everyone is excited to hear from our speakers today. But before we begin, a quick overview of what our event is about. The Web 3.0 revolution is the internet of trust and money, now happening all over the world, with many of its champions being women. To celebrate women in Web 3.0, Fintech Philippines Association presents the Women of Web 3.0. This event supports women in the fintech, blockchain, crypto, and e-commerce space by providing a platform to highlight women's contributions to the industry and engage women in the blockchain ecosystem from all around the globe. FPH would love to hear more about the story of women in the tech field, especially in Web 3.0. Speakers will share more about their experiences as well as challenges they faced on the field. Ultimately, we would love to hear their advice for young women leaders in the field of technology and Web 3.0. To officially begin this program, I'd like to welcome one of our esteemed speakers. So she is an award-winning brand architect, risk, issues, crisis strategist, movement maker, and marketing and communications innovator. She is the first in the Philippines to become an ISO 31000 crisis management practitioner. She is the country's leading communications, marketing, and public relations practitioner in the sphere of digital transformation, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and nascent technologies. An internationally awarded champion of marketing as a force for good, her projects demonstrate that you can hit your business goals while still doing good for the country. She is the co-founder and chief reputation architect of Geyser Maklang, trustee and executive director of the Fintech Philippines Association, board member of the French Chamber of Commerce and Industry in the Philippines, the chair for innovations of the European Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines, and the founding director of the Philippine Energy Independence Council. She is also the convener of the World Fintech Festival in Digital Pilipinas, a whole of nation and whole society movement to create a globally competitive technology and innovation ecosystem for the Philippines. Please welcome Ms. Amor Maglang.
Thank you, Bettina, and thank you moreover to all the amazing women representing not just the fintech space, but the bigger narrative that the Philippines is being made a part of, which is Web 3.0. We have representatives here in open finance, DeFi, fintech, e-commerce, among others, and we're very, very grateful for their evergreen support. Moreover, we would like to say good day to all of our members and all of those who are watching us through our live stream today. I'm neither a banker and I'm neither a technologist, but what role do I, as a woman, have to play in the Web 3.0 space? You're probably wondering what Web 1.0 versus 2.0 versus 3.0. So Bettina kind of gave us a heads up as to the focus of Web 3.0, which is all about the management of money and the management of trust and the monetization of trust. Web 1.0, as you probably know, is all about the exchange of data, videos, information. Web 2.0, on the other hand, is all about social media. What does a non-tech and a non-banking person, and a woman at that, have to do with helping drive the Web 3.0 narrative in the country? The long and the short of it is this nascent space requires a lot of onboarding, ecosystem building, connecting, because in this Web 3.0 space, the only way we can win is if we win together. I wanted to also invite many of you to join Fintech Philippines Association. And this year, the world is opening up. And the Philippines is at front and center of this Web 3.0 and FinTech revolution. I just wrapped up a lunch with Dr. Vea, the president of Mapua and the chairman of iPeople, the coming together, the educational coming together of the Ayala Group and also the Yuchenko Group. And I'm extremely proud to let you know that our program related to FinTech education has just been green-lighted by the board and is launching in August. Sooner than that, we will be hosting with Mapua a program that will bridge the technology players, the educational regulators, and the academe, so that we can bridge the skill set and also the industry demand. And all of this will be done through micro certification. So in other words, shorter term courses that can ladder up to a much bigger course. Happy to let you know that this is not just a run of the mill course or webinar, but the credits here when we launch will be on the blockchain. And our partner for this is none other than Affinity, which is the portable identity arm of Temasek. Alongside with this is also an internship and a fellowship program for upskillers and reskillers. Many of our members and partners have agreed to take on undergrads as interns and also upskillers who would like to be immersed more in the Web 3.0 space. Next, this year, we are looking at launching the first ever API marketplace backed by APIX of AFIN. So that's the ASEAN FinTech Innovation Network, of which FinTech Philippines Association is the official member. And you're probably wondering, how about for those without APIs? One will be provided for them by many of our partners, especially if you are an MSME. And this now leads us to the next priority area. So you probably remember that last November 12, 2021, during the World FinTech Festival, we signed an extended agreement between MD Ravi Menon of the Monetary Authority of Singapore and Governor Diokno, expanding the scope of the FinTech payments between our two countries. MSME digitalization is one priority area here. Just to share with you, last November 2021, we partnered with a PTTC in order to work on the digitalization of MSMEs in the Philippines. We're starting much earlier this year, and our objective is to once again graduate more MSMEs into the digital space, specifically to a platform called Proxtera. And Proxtera is the global platform for procurement for MSMEs, and it's also domiciled out of Singapore. The local partner for this is FinTech, amongst the associations is FinTech Philippines Association. Now, I have recently shook hands with IBPAP. So when we talk about setting up digitalization and setting up a digital Pilipinas, our antecedents for this is going to have to be IBPAP, which is the largest coming together of BPOs in the country. And together with its president, Mr. Jack Madrid, in April, we will be having a Teching Up government event that will feature the governments of Taiwan, the government of Singapore, and the government of Israel. And this is all intended to show that the teching up of governments indeed can happen. And this is a very, very good preamble to the 2022 elections happening in May, because it's only by doing so that we can help start the movement of technology being embedded in our candidates' agenda. We will continue to arrange for meetups with national line agencies. And aside from our traditional partners, the DOF and also the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, we have recently partnered with the Department of Science and Technology in order to create university-based innovation hubs across the country. In partnership with the Department of Trade and Industry, specifically the Office of USEC FITA, Aldaba, we will be promoting the Philippines as a nascent technology hub, not just here in Asia, but across the world. So if you'd like to start traveling, creating very real cross-border partnerships and collaborations across ASEAN, please do let us know, specifically Mr. Edison Tsai, who's our chair for membership. In quarter two, we are launching our first ever live party. And we're looking at sometime April or May to do this. And it's welcome to the summer and welcome to the metaverse. Now, also in April, we are launching the Academe and Education Regulators and Technologists Skills Work Gap Session, and it is hosted by our academic partner, Mapua University. In May, we are partnering with one of our members, OF Bank, which is the official digital bank of the Philippine government. And together with Fintech Philippines Association and Digital Pilipinas, we will be rolling out our OFW Digital Prosperity Summit in preparation for June, which is OFW month. Also in June, specifically June 21 to 24, and in partnership with the Monetary Authority of Singapore's Elevandi, we are organizing the Philippine team of conglomerates and also founders and companies investing in the Web 3.0 space for the Point Zero conference happening in Zurich. This is a project that is done together with the government of Singapore, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, and the Central Bank of Switzerland. So if you would like to consider joining the Philippine team, please do let me know. In September, we will be launching the first ever Philippine Fintech Festival. Fintech Philippines is the supporting trade organization, and this is organized by Digital Pilipinas, along with the DICT, along with the DOST, along with the DTI, and along with the DOF. This event will also ladder up to November, which historically for the past 6 years has been the convergence point of all fintech groups and fintech companies all over the world. What with the Singapore Fintech Festival happening hybrid this year. So as you can see, all roads not only lead to the Philippines when it comes to Web 3.0, but more importantly, fintech isn't fintech unless we're creating cross-border partnerships and collaboration. And the place to be in order to connect with the rest of ASEAN and the rest of the world via fintech is through Fintech Philippines Association. Mabuhay po all the women of Web 3.0 who are here today. And we'd like to welcome you all. If you'd like to become a member, please do let me know or contact our chair for membership, Mr. Edison Sai. Mabuhay at maraming salamat po. Let's all build a digital Pilipinas through fintech. Bettina, back to you.
Thank you, Amor, for that wonderful introduction. Before we begin, we'd like to ask each of our panelists for a photo op. Please turn on all your cameras and give us your best smile. In 1, 2, 3. One more photo for safety, please. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you very much. At this point, I'm honored to introduce our first keynote speaker. She is the founder, CEO, and president of www.kimstore.com, the Philippines' first and largest e-commerce shopping store for tech and electronics, established in 2006. She is currently working on helping Filipinos achieve the digital lifestyle that they aspire to have by providing affordable and high quality consumer electronic products and innovation. She has spent almost 15 years of experience in e-commerce, marketing, and entrepreneurship, and has mastered the art of online selling. She graduated with a bachelor's degree in marketing management from De La Salle University and has won in several award-giving bodies in entrepreneurship, such as Go Negosyo, Be the Boss of E-commerce by PLDT, and Rappler, Mansmith, and Fielder's Young Market Masters Awards in Entrepreneurship Marketing. She is also currently a fellow in 2021 Alibaba Netpreneur Training Online Program. Please welcome Ms. Kim Lato. Good afternoon, Kim.
Good afternoon. So before I begin, I'd like to thank Digital Pilipinas for having me, and I would like to greet my colleagues here. Happy Women's Month, and of course, Happy Women's Month to our participants. So I'm Kim Lato. I'm the CEO and founder of Kimstore.com, one of the pioneer of e-commerce in electronics in the Philippines. And now, our 15th year of serving Filipinos by bringing affordable and reliable electronics. So today, we are here to talk about the role of women in the coming of Web 3.0. You will hear from the members of our panel the opportunities Web 3.0 will introduce to us, countless new frontiers, the web reborn, and with its wide spectrum of possibilities that would change not just the way we view and consume the internet, but how we live. Our mission is to help ensure a diverse, inclusive future, a future where women are able to participate freely. No more choosing whether it's in a digital realm or in the real world, as it will increasingly become merged. With these new prospects, one thing is clear. We must be in the position to grab opportunities. However, we have a few issues to address before that. So first, let's take a look at the history of the internet. Every iteration of the web so far carries the previous version with it. The features of Web 1.0 did not vanish when Web 2.0 took over. It simply integrated. The read-write element was innovated upon, and content became a platform for interaction, and after that, a platform for business. It's actually no secret that when I started Kim Store, my dream was to become the Amazon of electronics in the Philippines. It was a big dream then, but mind you, this was 2006 when Amazon was mainly known for shopping. There's no doubt that since then, Amazon has innovated and evolved. Now, when we say Amazon, we could say Amazon Prime, Amazon Web Services, Amazon Video, Kindles, and other devices. Which makes me wonder, could that innovation have started here just as well if it did there? I told you, I dream big, so I wanted to be the Amazon of electronics in the Philippines. It could be that like any other prominent business figure like Ninong Jeff Bezos, I call it Ninong, well, in the Philippines, where in Facebook, Kim Store is known as Ninang Kim, Ninang ng Bayan for electronics, was in the right place at the right time. Just plain coincidence or fate. They say you should be the right person at the right time with the right opportunity. The more realistic explanation is that he had access the skills and equipment he needed to maximize his resources at the time. That is what we hope in Kim Store. And that is what we hope for the Digital Pilipinas, to provide access to the skills and equipment and the connections we all need to be in the situation to grab the opportunity. As an advocate for women in entrepreneurship, that is one thing that I really wish for all women, to solve the problems of access. The dream of women innovators in equal prominence and equal representation of women in the workplace cannot be made into reality if we women have no inkling of what's possible in the digital world. We often say that Web 1 was crawling, Web 2 is walking, and Web 3 will be able to run. Women are severely underrepresented in the web now, which can only mean that by the time of Web 3.0 full implementation, others will already be running while most women are just learning to walk. Before what I say is written off as doomsaying, let me back it up with experience, particularly during the start of pandemic. We have a tight connection with our customers, the majority of whom are women, and learned that many did not have the tech needed for women to work on their home setups. Many customers did not have their own laptops, peripherals like mic, keyboards, and so much and so forth. Um, we, we, we saw this during the pandemic times. In short, many were really caught unaware. In Web 3.0, a simple phone or laptop will carry even more value work-wise, and this could have been a bigger disaster for the workforce. The good news is that it's really still early. We are still in what we can consider the transition to Web 3.0, the 2.5 if you will. We are hoping and working to do as much as we can now to maximize the 2.5 stage so more women can be competitive in the Web 3.0. If every iteration of the web carries over to the next, then we will not allow the inadequacy and disadvantages of Web 2.0 to carry over. Let us see each other. The knowledge we gain now prepares us for the future. Each lesson is an investment. With the new concept and technology of Web 3.0, we have a steep learning curve ahead for creators and innovators. Just to share, I continuously and actively seek out new opportunities of learning. As a woman, what I learn is what I implement in our company and pass along to other women who are starting their journey in entrepreneurship. I find that it has become another aspect of my advocacy and calling to become a vessel of knowledge and experience and to pass it to whoever may need it next. At Kim Store, we continue our mission of providing affordable and reliable electronics. To have something for everyone and lower cost the barrier of those who want to explore or further their passions and knowledge. So my fellow women of Web 3.0, let's all do this, what we can now, and make it so that the right place and the right time will no longer be a coincidence. The right place and the right time is one that we design and manifest. So thank you, and we're looking forward on the panel discussion.
Thank you, Ms. Lato, for that wonderful speech and presentation. Your story truly is inspiring, and Nino and Jeff would be proud. We are also honored to have our next keynote speaker. She is the CEO and president of ING Form Company, Opal Portfolio Investments, or SPV AMC Incorporated. She started as a traditional banker, spanning over 22 years in senior management positions in National Australia Bank and Philippine National Bank before being pirated to head Opal SPV. Only last March 8, which was International Women's Day. Recently, she was also voted as chairperson of the board of PruLife UK Philippines and also independent director of two other companies, namely Seedent Technologies Incorporated and Southeast Asia P2P Fintech, and a publicly listed technology company, Surpass Incorporated. Furthermore, she is part of the BSP's Open Finance Oversight Committee. While background is in accounting, she has completed several master classes in blockchain, artificial intelligence, and Alibaba Netpreneur. She is presently a board trustee of several associations, namely Institute of Corporate Directors, Women Biz, and two Fintech associations, as well as MAP's vice chair of the governance committee. To top this, she also lectures in ICD and Ateneo Graduate School. She has received many recognitions, among others being 2021 100 Most Influential Women in LinkedIn, 2021 and 2020 Philippine Empowered Woman by Asia Luminaire, 2020 and 2019 Philippine Most Influential Women Empowerment by Asia Luminaire, 2020 APAC Philippine Representative in 2022 FinTech Vietnam, 2019 Philippine Representative in the ASEAN Women CEO topic, Digital and FinTech, and especially 2019 Asian Banker Speaker. Please welcome Ms. Ida Tiongson. Good afternoon, Ms. Ida.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Bettina. That's quite lengthy. Okay, this is fantastic that we're actually doing this. But rather than talk about me and my journey, I would rather actually lure more women to come on board with us and join us. So my presentation would be giving you a little bit of a brief on the fintech and the open finance. So I'll be very, very quick on that one. I'll just move a bit. Okay, and this is the reason I'm showing you this particular statistics, because women from kindergarten to year 12, practically 47% are actually interested in computers and science and technology for that matter. But if you look into this, what has happened? So in a senior position in tech, hardly any women, well, actually 11%, let alone when it comes to fintech, tech, and particularly open finance, which is for now. And this is the reason why I feel strongly that I should give you a background on this in the hope that I could, as I said, lure you in. Okay, so first and foremost, people are still making a mistake. When people are talking about fintech, they think it's only Gcash and crypto and Bitcoin. We have a Gcash representative here, so that's actually fantastic. But fintech, there's a lot of us. There's in the Philippines, as of end of 2021, 2022 stats, 216 of us. There's e-wallets, there's remittance, payments, lending, crowdfunding, crypto, of course, digital banking, and tech support. And with that, I'm going to talk about just quickly on the wallets and the digital payments. It's really on the uptick. With InstaPay and PesoNet alone, it ranges from approximately 300 to 600% increase. In fact, when it comes to Gcash, it's way, way more than that. I suppose that will be discussed later on. In the good old days, there's a traditional method where to invest. You can invest in the stock market, the bank, bonds, properties, businesses. In the fintech space, while you can actually do that still, you can go through crypto if you wish, P2P lending platform, crowdfunding, look into digital asset tokenization, non-fungible token, digital banking, of course, investments through Bureau of Treasury, which, by the way, you can do through OF Bank, and InsurTech. So there's a lot of ways to invest via using fintech. And people are still saying, okay, what exactly is fintech? It's a new technology that seeks to improve and automate the use of financial services. It is an emerging industry that uses technology to improve activities in finance. Okay, so what is that got to do with it, the typical Tom, Dick, and Harry? I should have actually put a woman farmer there. This is where a lot of things are changing. In the good old days, that farmer would have to walk 2 hours, and mind you, this is for real, to go to a bank to get the payment, and then go and to the supplier and pay. That's a total of about 4 hours trip. To date, that has changed by the advent of fintech, financial technology. He could actually use his wallet already. We all know that already. But what we don't know yet, or what is upcoming, is the open finance. And the Banco Central last December just launched open finance. And basically what it does is it will let this farmer, by the use of technology such as a cell phone, can go in and get all his financial data from other institutions. It could be insurance, it could be a co-op, it could be a bank, it could be a fintech, and be able to access financial products and services. Let me just show you what open finance is happening, because the future is already here. Things are changing rapidly. There's openness. The ecosystem is being built. And with this, we see that open finance is not just in the Philippines, but actually in the world. It's a world of innovative services where eventually it's Philippines and then Asia. You can avail of loans, insurance, have customer experience tailor-made for you. The key attraction to this is because it's the use of the innovation and the good thing is it shows and it's tailor fit to what you want because it's specific to your requirement. To have fun with it, it can even do gamification of financial services. And not just that, there's ESG there too, supporting sustainable finance. So a lot of things will be changing. And the bottom line is it's your choice, it's your consent, and it's where you want to be. You now have the capacity and be able to scale up your business by being able to borrow and use all the best and the most competitive products. Payment systems should be faster, quicker, and interoperable. Everything's connected. There's open platform, there's value chain, and that will make the world eventually borderless. And I'm very happy today with my very, very short speech that with FinTech helping with the open finance, and I'm happy to see that we have a lot of, where we're getting more and more women. And I'm amazed. Thank you, Amor, for getting all these women together. You know, we have Mylene of Paynamics doing e-billing, I think is that what they do. And we have Tatiana Zomer of ePayly, I hope I pronounced that correctly, in doing data services. We have Just to Pay, Gemma Guerrero doing payment systems. Of course, Amor, who's practically in every section of this, promoting it, pushing it through Fintech Philippines Association and Digital Pilipinas. And very popular Angeline Pam of Angkas, using the platform, not just in Metro Manila, but now spreading all over the country. So I thank you for the invite, and I hope that the statistics having less women on board will eventually change and change in the near future. Let's break that bias. Back to you, Bettina.
Thank you, Ms. Ito, for that wonderful talk on open finance. We surely learned a lot. At this point, we come to our panel discussion. Let me introduce each of our panelists, and they'll be sharing a little bit more about themselves and the companies they represent. Our next panelist has over 20 years of experience doing international business and market development, including general corporate management and operations, including but not limited to startups, on-contract negotiations, joint ventures, distributor and supply agreements, various sales and marketing platforms, product placements, and implementation of companies' long-term strategic and global imperatives. She has been involved in tech startups focusing on mobile platforms and emerging technologies in VR, AR, and 3D since 2013. Co-founder of a digital transformation platform using VR and 3D technology for the real estate market. Current industry dynamics have impacted how real estate companies must operate and adopt to the new norm. Her technology uses spatial 3D to engage and bridge the gap between virtual and the physical world, creating a unique brand experience. Involved as board advisory and in a leadership position for almost a decade. This included pro bono work as president and chairman of the board for Pacific Plaza Towers and as chair of Rotary Foundation for Rotary Club of BGC Central. She spearheaded efforts in restructuring technical and financial audit, operational upgrades and improvement, and funding capital raising mandates. Ultimately, she has a deep knowledge of multicultural and socioeconomic dynamics of various international markets in Asia, Europe, and the Middle East during the past 20 years. She has lived in the Philippines for almost 18 years with familiarity and networking knowledge of several industry sectors relative to Southeast Asian regions. Please welcome Ms. Gemma Guerrero. Hi, Ms. Gemma. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Bettina. That was quite an introduction. Thank you. Should I start my introduction of myself now or wait for all the other panelists?
Oh, you can definitely start. Yes.
Okay. Well, good afternoon. I'm actually in the US right now, and despite the time difference, I think it's past 1 a.m. in the West Coast. I'm so pleased to be part of this opportunity and join the event. I special thank you to Amor, her team, and of course, Digital Filipinas and the team of the Fintech Philippine Association. I think this event is quite critical for having women learn more about other women, and in fact to inspire and learn from each other. I'm really pleased to be here and to meet the other fellow women on this panel. My background, actually, Bettina mentioned a lot of them, but I want to mention my connection with JustPay to as their president and CEO. I actually got involved with fintech about 5 years ago when we met the founders. They're a young guys. They actually approached my husband on his perspective about software development and doing a startup. We actually got interested because their vision was quite impressive. They asked a question: what if every Filipino or local Philippine business have their own payment address, having their own URL, so they could facilitate the digital payment on the go. So we thought that was quite powerful, and I pretty much started helping out as a board advisory. So they launched in 2020, which was the beginning of the pandemic. This turned out to be a catalyst for our country's digital transformation. And not surprisingly, though, they've signed up a lot of customers on the platform. 8 months later, they asked me to join as the CEO of the company to help with their growth trajectory and in restructuring, streamlining operation, because they were going quite fast. So in a nutshell, JustPay2 it's a software platform for payment, which creates a URL. It's like having your own email. So I believe it's quite compelling. It's visionary in the sense that having 100 million, to be honest, having all the Filipinos have their own payment address, sending payments to each other, will fast track the digitization of the country. So small, like what Ida said earlier about the farmer, imagine if he has his own payment address, and when he sells his products to the open market, people can just say, just pay to Juan de la Cruz, the farmer. So it really serves the underbanked. And when it comes to women, we're hoping that women entrepreneurs will be encouraged. They don't need to have their own website to be able to receive payments. So that's what we're trying to do with JustPay2. Currently, we're doing our focus right now is the B2B platform, where the SMEs and the MSEs, we're trying to have creating their own URL. We've signed major contracts. We have the tollways, we have the transportation sector with the Beep, Easy Trip. We have tie-ups with Ayala, Petron. We're now starting with SM, with their merchants. We're very excited about our platform, and our ecosystem also allows other synergies with GCash being on our platform, even other payment like wallets and other apps that can go on our platform to be a source of payment for the end users. So again, I'm pleased to be here, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for that, Ms. Gemma. Your story has definitely inspired all of us to keep moving forward in the space we're all in. Our next panelist's main advocacy is to transition the Philippines into a cashless society. She has a very strong work ethic and is driven to help her clients succeed in implementing Paynamic solutions. With a keen expertise in relationship management, her skills have allowed Paynamics to rapidly grow its transaction and customer base. Her previous work, hands-on approach, and innate customer relationship management skills, as well as accounting background, have equipped her to continuously build profitable and sustainable portfolios of clientele. She earned her degree in Bachelor of Science in Accountancy from Polytechnic University of the Philippines. Please welcome Ms. Mylene Chua. Good afternoon, Ms. Mylene.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and happy Women's Month. I'm Maylene Magleo, CEO and co-founder of Paynamics Technologies. We are a payments enabler helping businesses solve their payments acceptance pain points, whether it's payment acceptance or payout. Our mission is to contribute to nation building through our cost-effective, scalable, and flexible financial payment solutions that empower any business that to compete globally. With our 11 years of reputable track record in the industry, Paynamics revolves around our passion to innovate and creating sustainable electronic payment products that are being utilized by 2,000 merchants from small, medium to large enterprises. As a matter of fact, when I started Paynamics way back, I guess that was 12 years ago, almost 12 years ago, it was difficult for us at the start because most businesses, companies do not realize the value that we bring in to their businesses, which is helping them automate their processes, making it efficient, and protecting their businesses from risks like fraud, theft, and pilferage. At that time, it was difficult for us to convey the value that we're bringing to their businesses, but we kept pushing forward because we believe that one day Philippines will be a cashless economy. And yes, right now we're glad we hang on to our mission and vision because the digital era is here. Wherein everyone, businesses were forced to go online to for their businesses to thrive. And I'm happy and I celebrate also the founders, the women founders here in this panel also for braving the challenge of the web 3.0. So happy to be in this panel and thank you for having me today.
Thank you for that wonderful story, Miss Mylene. We have definitely learned a thing or two about doing good for the society we are a part of. Our next panelist is an IT professional with over 13 years of experience in SAP project implementation and service delivery, primarily in the supply chain area for various FMCG and high-tech electronics accounts. She recently moved to e-commerce with 1.5 years of experience in marketplace platform operations. She is experienced in managing projects, programs, and leading diverse teams in a global environment. Please welcome Ms. Tatiana Ziomer.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So I'm Tatiana. You can call me Tati for short. I know my name is a bit difficult to pronounce, so just call me Tati. So I'm the COO of eTaily. At eTaily, we enable brands to sell online in different channels. So whether it's your big marketplaces, their own brand.coms, and then of course, our value proposition is enabling them to fulfill from anywhere, whether it's from our warehouses, their distributors, or even the retail stores. So we use our in-house tech to orchestrate these complex e-commerce and supply chain processes and enable the brands better visibility across their entire e-commerce system. So historically, when the big marketplaces launched around 10 years ago, right? I'm sure you're familiar. There's a 10, Lazada is having its 10th birthday this coming weekend. When they launched 10 years ago, brands went on the platforms. The goods are typically fulfilled from one central warehouse, which is typically in Metro Manila. So imagine if you're in Visayas or Mindanao, it takes you several days, maybe a week or a little over a week to get your goods that you ordered online from Metro Manila. And of course, it comes at the shipping fee cost, which might be potentially even more expensive than what you're buying. With our in-house tech, we can now enable decentralized fulfillment across multiple warehouses, enabling faster fulfillment, and for the consumers, definitely cheaper shipping fees. And we were discussing, Amor was discussing about Web 3.0, right? And one of the key characteristics really of Web 3.0 is the decentralization. And that's also something that we're trying to do with e-commerce, with the decentralized fulfillment, so that we can bring better value proposition with faster fulfillment and cheaper shipping costs to our consumers. So as a COO in eTaily, I manage actually two big teams. So Bettina mentioned I've always been on the technology side. So I actually manage both operations and the technology teams of eTaily. So I help set the strategic direction for our in-house and client projects. A lot of it really, as you know, it's really all about the digital transformations now for the brands. Even for us internally, we're doing a lot of internal tech projects to really, move with the times. It's very, a lot of changes, a lot of exciting opportunities. So again, also, I'm very happy to be part of this panel to learn from my fellow women leaders, and also, of course, from the participants as you ask your questions in this forum discussion.
Thank you for that, Tati. We are all truly amazed by all the power of women who have joined our panel today. Thank you all so much again. May we now call our keynote speakers, Ms. Kim Lato and Ms. Ida Tiongson, to join our panel. Everyone, please turn on your cameras. Now, before we proceed, we'd like to invite the audience to send in their questions through the chat box in the webinar below. So now to start the exciting Q&A portion, of course. So a general question for each woman here today: what is the best approach to encourage the tech sector to hear women's voices and their contributions appreciated to provide women more opportunities to advance in their careers? Ms. Kim, would you like to answer that question?
Okay. If we wanted to be highlighted, we need to be our own representative in our own ways. We can use and harness the social media channels in order to showcase our projects and programs and raise our concerns. I've been into e-commerce for the past 15 years, from multiply site, having our social media pages up in Facebook and in Instagram. So why not use these platforms to be a voice, so that women voices can be heard more? And we can also raise our reach in connecting with more organizations, such as an example is Digital Pilipinas, and then some organizations like Women Business Council, Connected Women. The more that we support these organizations, they the more that they could really inspire women to really be an advocate of entrepreneurship at their own ways.
Thank you. It's very, it's quite inspiring how you mentioned social media, because nowadays social media has, pretty much taken over our lives. The internet, you wouldn't have expected the internet to evolve so much within the last decade, but it has. Let's say decades ago, it was even unfathomable to have social media in place, right, for all of us. And it's true what you said about women voicing out themselves in social, like on social media. There are so many movements online now, so many campaigns targeted towards women empowerment, and it's very much important that the audience here, let's say if you want to let us know your input on this, please do type in the chat box below. We'd love to hear all of that. Now for the second question. Anyone can answer this, of course. In your respective fields, such as fintech, e-commerce, and open finance, how can we promote more inclusivity in terms of involvement, employment, and customer base?
Hi, Bettina. Maybe I'll give my initial insights.
Sure.
So for e-tailing, right, we value that inclusivity in our employee base go hand in hand with inclusivity in our customer base. So we really need a diverse employee base, so we can have different perspectives, and those different perspectives from different demographics help us understand what's happening out there. It helps us, create meaningful and diverse strategy for our different brands, and content that will really cater to the different customer base also. And that for us, that really helps also increase the inclusivity of our customer base, not just of e-tailing, but the brands that we manage.
Thank you for that. Yes, that is definitely true. It's always important for an organization to have a very diverse group of, let's say, people who want to be a part of it, people who are working in the organization themselves. Now, I have a question for Ida and Mylene.
Oh, okay. I was going to chime in on that one.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. No, so with a question, how can we promote inclusivity in terms of involvement in employment? I say it's from the top. First and foremost is diversity does work. So you have to push and make them aware that it does work. There's a lot of studies in there. Having women up in the board level and also in the management level does help, especially in our field, the Web 3.0. It harmonizes, as mentioned by, was it Mylene who mentioned that one? As mentioned, oh no, I'm sorry, it was Tatiana. Um, and up the board level in terms of decision-making strategies. Now, how could you trickle it down? And this is not a popular answer for this, but having a policy in diversity, not just skill diversity, but gender diversity as well. Back to you, Bettina.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I definitely agree. When you have an organization that is as diverse, let's say as other, how do I say, other companies that are coming out now, because back then, women, like inclusivity, when it comes to women being part of the workforce, it was often unheard of. Let's say, let's bring it back to the 1940s, the 1950s. We didn't really hear much about women being part of, let's say, the corporate setting, but there were women who fought for their voice, for the voices of other women as well, which is, we have to applaud them for that. So another question for Miss Ida and Mylene, are there enough female role models in the tech sector?
We're talking global, right? In the global
Yes.
world, the answer is, are there enough? My answer to that is not enough. If it's going to be 50-50 in women, then that's enough. Because in terms of population, it's actually 50-50. But do we have? Definitely we have. We have a lot of role models. In fact, in this room alone, we have a lot of role models here. And hopefully the women out there, especially the young girls, can be inspired and not be afraid, because there's two sides of the coin. One is employing the women, and the other one is getting employed. So on your part, do you really want it? Do you really want to be there? It's not just being brave being there, but having that passion. And for the employment, as I said, no, there are, what's so good about and I'm going to be technical here, ASEAN Corporate Governance Scorecard, is that in the governance field, there's a bonus points when you have more women in the boards. So with that, we hope to get few more. While we have some, we certainly need a few more. I'm blanking out. I have a couple of names on top of my head, but I'll remember it in a few moments.
That's fine. Thank you very much. I totally agree. It's very important for young girls, for, let's say, adolescent girls, even girls in their 20s and 30s, to have someone to always look up to, especially women representation in today's society. Now, Mylene, I believe you raised your hand earlier. What do you think?
yeah. Actually, in terms of tech, no, I believe it's still male dominated, I would say. So, but in our company, in Paynamics, the concept of inclusivity is no one should be left behind. So we make sure that women are heard and empowered to make decisions. We make conscious initiatives about gender equality, and we create equal opportunities for both men and women. So as an employer, basically we always check on the mix of men and women in our company, no? And as mentioned in our example, technical department, for example, is mostly dominated by men, no? So we encourage them to hire more women. And of course, our company Paynamics is committed in terms of supporting career growth for women team members, making sure men and women have equal access to leadership development programs.
I totally agree with what you just said, Mylene. It's very important for both men and women to have equal opportunities to succeed, to be employed, and to move forward in today's society. Now, I have a question for everyone in the room. How can women stake their claim in the future of the internet and the Web 3.0? How will women ensure that the development of the next internet platform is safe and inclusive for all? Kim, would you like to answer this question?
Okay. As an advocate for women in entrepreneurship, one thing that I really wish for all women is to really solve this problem where accessibility of tools, knowledge, opportunities, and connections. The dream of women innovators in equal prominence and equal representation of women in the workplace cannot be made reality if women have no inkling of what's possible to the digital world. We're just very fortunate in this panel discussion that were exposed on this type of opportunity. But how about those people who are not, who doesn't even have an internet in their homes, right? Or right now, because of the pandemic, we need to reskill, upskill. We really have to be part of the wave of the next changes in the digital transformation. Um, as I said earlier, skills and tools are concrete ways we can move forward by ensuring that tech is reachable, so that women are given the equal opportunity to build their own foundations.
Can,
Thank
can I
you.
add something?
Oh,
Can I
yes, of
add
course.
something to what Kim said? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, can I add something to what Kim said about, how to push the needle forward? I think, it's important not just having the skill set, and I think it has to start grassroots level. I think in our country, education has to be quite critical, especially
Mhm.
now that we're getting into the digital transformation stage, where the younger kids, especially the young girls, I think the school, our educational institution should start offering coding classes, or push and help this young children, especially the girls, to get involved and to get interested in coding or on the internet. When I was the foundation chair with the Rotary, the first thing I did for the Rotary Grant International, where I helped funding, is to set up a digital platform for the public schools in Taguig. We were able to raise
Wow.
funds so that the high school age can get involved in learning using smart boards. Like the private school, they can offer that, but not the public schools. So I think, and very strongly, that one way to encourage inclusivity and push, all the girls to get involved in the tech world or innovative solutions, is to learn it from the start. I mean, I think education plays a very important role in that.
Oh, yes, I definitely agree. Education is, it's something that, let's say, I'm very passionate about equal access to education, especially for young girls. Education has, especially, let's say, let's bring it into context when it comes to history. For you to move forward, you need to know where you've come from. You need to know how to approach a certain situation based on what, let's say, your ancestors have gone through before. So, for young girls to know about, let's say, tech and to learn about it in school while they're still in that sponge stage, sorry, it's something that could very much help young girls visualize and aspire to be like, let's say, a powerful woman in the future, for sure. Miss Ida, do you have any input for that?
No, I was just, we should give the others a chance to talk, but
Okay.
but I just want to make a mention. There are dolls that are robotics. From a young age, we have a tendency of giving dolls to the girls and giving cars to the boys, giving them robots to the boys. That is actually a start. We can give them Lego, we can give them dolls, a little bit more educational, but I'm not saying that that's wrong, but that could actually support and start from the beginning. I totally support Gemma's position, and I was actually clapping when she said they're doing this thing, and digital education that could certainly be expanded. We in Women Biz, the other hat that I'm wearing, we've been doing that for less fortunate women to be able to get a job, and happy to say that I think we got up to 400 women doing that as well. And we did education program as well, data analytics, and they'll be able to actually appreciate and then move forward to it. Very, very interesting topic, this one. Thank you, Gemma. Let's expand this. Let's work together.
Yes, why not? I'm interested, actually.
Thank you. We're all very much looking forward to that collaboration in the future. So next question would have to be for Miss Tati and Kim. In the field of retail and e-commerce, what would be the advantages of many women-led MSMEs? Is this a trend that we can ride and apply to other industries as well?
All right. So I think for the women-led MSMEs, right, the key advantage for them is really they know what women want and need. And the market insights from different like Bain and Company, Kantar, they all say that actually a key growth driver for any business is really still the women buyers. Why? Because still, in general, women are still responsible for the household purchases. So, as a mother, as a daughter, maybe caring for your family, it's really the women who buy for the household. So in any, like a lot of the brands that we also manage, we definitely look into the women sector. And if as a women MSME, definitely what they want, what they need, you're able to find, okay, what are the products or services I can offer to meet and cater to these needs. And I definitely think that's a big advantage for women as MSMEs, if they can just tap that innate knowledge, because we're all women, you can tap that knowledge, what we want, then we can definitely continue to grow the business. And of course, I guess for the second point, is this something we can apply to other industries? Definitely, that's also something that we can use to penetrate, maybe the more male dominated industries also down the line.
I totally agree, because let's say you're a woman who wants to have, let's say, a purely woman-owned business. You definitely know the voice. You definitely know the market you're trying to tap. You know the audience you want to reach for that. So let's say, what about Miss Kim? What do you think about this?
Mm, I think, let me share what happened during the pandemic. During the lockdown, there were a lot of businesses, such as the Ube Pandesal, Bake Sushi. There were a lot of small stores that opened in Viber, in Facebook, in Instagram. What I'm trying to say are most likely these are women who are only based in their homes, right? And then they saw the opportunity that I'm not gonna stuck here in my home doing nothing, right? So why not use my skills to open a shop, to use my skills like baking to offer bake sushi, bake salmon, or whatever. In relation with the retail and e-commerce, um, e-commerce has always been a great equalizer, especially with what happened to the pandemic. It has been the equalizer, so that women who just shops in marketplaces, they have been surprised and amazed that they can also be entrepreneurs. Women are really devoted, nurturing, caring by default. In relation to corporate perspective, this translate to a inclusive, creative, structure way of leadership, and this would really help employees to really feel heard, valued, and taken care of. And I think, as I think women, you see, empowered women empower women, right? So
Yes.
we love supporting businesses that shows compassion and value and mission driven MSMEs.
I totally agree. And during the early stages of the pandemic, we saw, let's say, women just starting, women and men, of course, but I wanted to touch up on mostly women who were given the courage, or they found the courage and the drive, let's say, to start or to get their businesses running during the pandemic. I have friends who were selling, let's say, like what you mentioned, baked sushi. There was a ube pandesal, there was the dalgona coffee, and all of these, it's inspiring to know, and it's also inspiring to see other women lifting up other women when it comes to running businesses. Now, I have another question for Ms. Gemma and Mylene. How can fintechs like Just Payto and Paynamics bring women into the digital economy, especially when we've seen a lot of women entrepreneurs doing MSMEs on online platforms?
I'll have Eileen answer first.
Okay, sure. Riding the big wave of digital economy means leveraging on the growth of e-commerce, digital lending, crypto, open finance. For Paynamics, as a payments company, we encourage women entrepreneurs by providing them the right tools, right business tools that will help them move faster, enhance business visibility, and compete in the market. So we feature their businesses to create awareness, inspire fellow women entrepreneurs, and we openly discuss with them opportunities that will help their business thrive in this digital era. So actually, for our company, as mentioned, our passion revolves in creating innovative solutions that are interoperable and inclusive. So we take inspiration from successful companies locally and in other parts of the world. We always incorporate inclusivity, because inclusivity, as you know, starts with empathy. So yeah, we always consider, when we are building our products, we also always consider the pain points of our users, the businesses, whether you're small, medium to large enterprises. We make sure that we have the right solutions for you. So, and it's inclusive to everyone. So yeah, Miss Gemma, your turn.
Yeah, thanks, Maylene. Okay, with Just Pay to, like I said, the company really, our value proposition is creating an individual or a business own payment address. So when it comes to empowering women and entrepreneurship, like we know during the pandemic, all these women came out of the woodwork and started their own thing remotely from their homes. They started selling ube pandesal, which I'm quite hooked on, and I miss quite a bit being in the States right now. But, like this baked sushi, all this, for them, having to receive payment, they have all this, it becomes a simple solution for them by not requiring to have a website to facilitate payment. So all they need is really to have their own URL. Just pay to ube pandesal. They just put in, they sign up for free, they give their bank, and all their customers can just easily remember who they are by having their own payment address. So I think that's quite empowering, especially for entrepreneurs. It pushes people to try and take the risk, because they know that having their own payment address, they can receive payments. So I think that by allowing people to start and be entrepreneurs at the smallest level, to try from their homes, it allows it, and it makes Filipino livelihood prosper from a small way and then going. So it's a grassroots level again. So I think at Just Pay 2, we're helping those who are not bank, underbanked, even those bank, even the B2B, we're quite excited to help having their own, payment address. We actually are excited with all the contracts we signed with the Ayala Mall merchants. We're talking to small businesses, to doctors, to having their own payment addresses. So when they have their own practice, they can just say, just pay to doctor, so and so, and they receive payment. And the payment, and you can choose your own. When you get to our platform, you can choose your own source of fund. You can use paying
Oh,
your
wow.
using your GCash, you can use credit card, you can use your bank account. So there are sources of funds that you can use on our platform. So we're pretty agnostic. We can work with all the different kinds of payment solution in our ecosystem.
Thank you, Ms. Gemma and Mylene. It's fantastic, I think, what you both are doing and what the women on in this panel are doing specifically. They're making that space more known. They're making that space, you guys are making the space more inclusive for women to move forward in their careers, to move forward, let's say, in entrepreneurship and whatever their passion is. Now, I have another question for everyone in the room. Let's start off with Tati. Can fintechs encourage the underserved and unserved women to get a bank account and eventually allow them access to financial services instead of relying on loan sharks, especially for women entrepreneurs?
Definitely. So I think historically, that's one of the the things that are stopping women entrepreneurs, for example, from starting a business, that lack of access to capital. And now with all the different fintech solutions out there, they're really able to get in a secure manner. Depending on the loan amount, you can get for as low as maybe 1,000 pesos to something bigger, depending on the needs of your business. So I think definitely that helps them gain access to that financial capital to start their own business without having the fear of, will I be taken advantage of? Well, I have to pay such a big interest for the loan I'm taking on. So definitely that will help them improve their livelihood, and then of course, down the line, they can open their bank accounts as they grow their business. So definitely a big step forward towards financial inclusivity will be the fintechs that are coming out right now.
Thank you for that. Financial inclusivity is this huge, I wouldn't say trend, but it's a huge aspect of how, let's say, men and women are trying to succeed today. Let's say let's say TikTok. Let's bring up TikTok, for example. You see a lot of women-led and women-driven TikTok accounts on financial inclusivity, on fintech, on financial education, and they're in bite-sized videos, like let's say 15-seconders or 60-seconders, where you're able to digest that information in the most efficient and the most in the quickest way possible, actually, and it's easy to digest, it's easy to understand. And I think that's where financial inclusivity comes in as well, because to be for let's say organizations, or for both genders, or for women to be financially inclusive, it's a huge thing, especially today. So what about Miss Ito? What do you think?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, there's kind of two sets there that is being discussed. Is one, how can we get women to be kind of like part of fintech and part of this the net economy, so to speak, and the other part is the financial inclusivity. For the first one, I think undoubtedly we are already on a stage of fear of missing out. I doubt very much that in this particular room, there's no e-wallet, either GCash or PayMaya, or whatever wallets that you have. And you can expand that further. Imagine if you're having a business, you don't have finances, but you have kept track because of your digital payments coming in and out of your account. That is already a stepping stone of getting your credit score. And when you get that credit score, as Mylene mentioned, that would lead, sorry, that's Tatiana again, that will lead to being able to scale up by borrowing. It's leverage financing. And in addition to that, you would be able to get access to all these financial products and services. And that's only the tip of your fingertip. Today, you can have a Japanese investor investing in your company, and that's of course digital asset. Or non-fungible token. Those are things that a lot of people are not yet aware that can be expounded on. And by learning those, that would help them. And actually, that's also answering the financial inclusivity. There's two factors on financial inclusiveness. One is having an account, whether it's a bank account or a wallet. And the other one is being able to access products or services, loans, investments, and that sort of thing. And that will help you grow. In business, there are four major disadvantages. One is lack of confidence. The other one's lack of finance. The other one is lack of time. The other one's lack of support. And guess what? When you are in the space, the lack of confidence, the more that you get successful to this, you will be able to pick it up. I mean, look at Kim Lato. I mean, she's such an inspiring story in e-commerce. In the lack of finance, again, the more that you're in the digital space, you are creating your scoring. You're improving your scoring, and then eventually be able to borrow. I know taken too long. I have two yayas. One is banking, one is not. And the one who was banking, after 6 months, got a loan. After 2 years, was able to buy a farm. The other yaya who just wants to just get paid cash and cash, still to date, no credit score. Mm-hmm. So this is just an example. Okay, getting back on the four, the other one is no time. See, that's in the space. Young mothers, with the artificial intelligence helping you and doing the chats for you, and you get the sale that is already closed, it lessens the communication because the chatbot does help you in the e-commerce space. There's lots of answers to this. And the no support. This is where organizations such as the DTI is huge on this. The Go Negosyo is huge on this. Connected Women and all of that. If they see your passion and you've started from scratch and there's scalability, you have a better chance of expanding your business.
Thank you very much for that. Support is from all aspects, of course. It's very important because, now that women are given the voice, women are given the space to succeed, support is a big factor there. Now, I have a question for both, again, Ms. Ida and Tati. How important is the role of women in achieving our goal of a digital Pilipinas?
I would like Amor to answer that one. if Amor is still with us. What's the role of the women in digital Filipinas is basically the question. I would say, what's the role of women in the ecosystem? We bring different, diverse perspective to this. According to Jack Ma, we also bring not just talent, we bring the soft skills. So we harmonize, we have this emotional intelligence. Not that I'm saying that the guys don't have it, but we are, in a way, we kind of balance it off. We think because we're kind of innately, like a few of us are moms, we think about the future of the children. So that actually brings to the decision making when we're thinking about not just what's good for the business, but what's good for the economy and what's good for everyone. We kind of bring that in because today businesses are actually doing well because they're doing good.
Yes, that is true. Doing well by doing good. That's something, everyone here, especially in the panel, I'm sure all of you are following. What about you, Tati? What do you think? How important is the role of women in achieving our goal of a digital Pilipinas?
Yeah, so I think really well said, Miss Ida. I think at the beginning, right, Miss Ida showed like how much percentage, like our population is basically 50-50, but as girls or women grow older, they start coming out of going out of the tech or the digital industries, right? So, and I think if we're able to tap that potential of that 50% of our population to really go into the tech industry, go into those digital projects and digital transformations, I think we can definitely accelerate even further what we have right now. It will also I think in terms of having a more balanced strategy for the different businesses, different agencies, that's also definitely something that the women can bring, because as mentioned, historically, we are the caregivers of, we bear, I'm a mother, I'm sure, as Miss Ida also mentioned, a few of us are mothers. So we bear sort of that household, that shared care kind of activity still. So, that also translates into how we treat the businesses, like how we treat our families and households. That's how also we treat the businesses. And that's really, having that overall empathy and care for the business really helps it grow.
I totally agree. There's this badly put, but there's this, what is it people say, a woman's touch, badly put, you know what I mean? But it's also important, it's actually enlightening for me to learn and for other people to learn that the secret to a lot of businesses succeeding is the role a woman plays in the business. The caring factor, the caring attitude, the value of empathy. These are all very important values for businesses to thrive. Now, I have a question for Ms. Gemma. Thank you very much, Ms. Ida and Tati. So for Ms. Gemma, what do you think is the best technique to encourage women to engage more in fintech?
I think from my perspective, as a company, we offer internship. We look at university students and offer them internship. Honestly, inclusivity is very important, but I think what's important as well is giving women a level playing field. I mean, you cannot hire women when you know that their core competency is not really that particular scope of work, right? So I think inclusivity would mean that you hire women where you think they would excel, so they have the most opportunity to succeed, right? And I think that's what, uh, the journey, success is a journey. It's not just what you achieve. So I have two daughters, and in a way I mentored them when they graduated, they're now looking for a job. So I tell them that how to succeed, not just in fintech, not just in any field of endeavor for women. I think one is having the courage, and I think having a choice is your most fundamental right. So when you choose a company, make sure that you will be an asset to that company, right? And again, I go back to the education. What education you choose is how you're gonna have to go with your career path, how you're going to succeed on your roadmap, in becoming more successful. I think every effort, like myself being with Just Pay to, every effort I do, however small, I think will help other women in our company. Right now we have a lean team, right? So and most of the IT that we have, unfortunately or fortunately, it really is excelled by men. So women on our operations team are mostly women, and we're actually doing very well because of them. Like you say, it's the women being, it's the devil is in the detail. So I think it has to be a level playing field, right? And the resources that women have right now, despite lack of resources, like everyone is saying, this pandemic has been a catalyst. I think it brought out the survival instinct for all of us, and especially for women. And I just want to add that, the Amor, your team, and this digital, and Miss Ida, all your effort with all these conferences and events, it's very inspiring. It's very empowering. I think having this helps educate and evangelize, how women could succeed regardless of the field that they choose in. And really kudos and bravo to everyone who's putting effort for such, it's a teaching moment for everyone.
Thank you very much for your kind and inspiring words, Ms. Gemma. I totally agree. I definitely infinitely agree with you that success is a journey, but success is also a journey worth taking. You have to be successful, you have to put in the work. And for sure, women of all ages, women of all walks of life, they, this whole platform will inspire women to keep going, to stay the course, and to see the big picture. Thank you for that, Ms. Gemma. Now I
Tina,
have a
sorry,
question.
could I stab on that one, put a stab? Because a lot of the questions earlier on that I would been attempting to answer are actually leading towards how do we get there? How do we go fintech? How do we do this? Just like as mentioned by yourself and Gemma, it really is a journey. So you are here. Where do you want to be? So it's like if you want to be a professional tennis player, what do you want to do? What should you do? One is you got a mentor, and then the other one, well, you got to have your cheering squad, at least one, which is normally the mom. And then you will go step by step. You will definitely fall and get hurt, but get up. And this is where, when it comes to the context of the encouragement must be constant, and you got to be cheered on. And that's where mentorship can come into play. And you go baby steps, little steps. First is Fintech PH with Digital Filipinas and Mapua, as mentioned by Amor, is doing this Fintech learning thing. Look at that. Check it out. There are a lot of universities already offering AI studies, blockchain, and what. Learn and do your little steps. And eventually you will be able to get up to that level if you feel that the passion is there. And let's call spade a spade. Not everyone will have the passion. I'm going to say, well, that's not for me. That's fine. That's not failure. It's not just what you want in life, but those ones that are feeling passionate about it, with encouragement, with those cheer and the little step and the journey, you will get there.
Thank you. I totally agree. Encouragement, mentorship, being supported by, let's say, as what you mentioned, just one person, usually being the mom, it's definitely something that counts. It's definitely something that keeps you going as
And
a
dads
daughter.
too, and dads too. The dads are
Yes,
important.
dads are important as well. I totally agree. I totally agree. Thank you for that. Now, I have a question for Mylene. In educational attainment beyond technological aspects like college courses, how could we choose a nice basis or accurate basis or foundation in attaining more knowledge about IT and the digital world?
Actually, on my in my experience, I have zero knowledge in tech, to
Oh,
be honest. Yes.
yeah.
My background is really accountancy. And
Mhm.
then I actually been exposed to different industries. I worked for pharmaceutical, I worked for an oil company, and got exposed also to a foreign payments processing company. That's where actually I fell in love with the e-commerce and
Yeah.
payments. That, oh my gosh, even if when I'm sleeping, payments are coming in. So from there on, I fell in love with it and learn it. When you're curious, actually, that's where the passion kicks in. you
Mhm.
know for me, actually, all the 12 years that I've been in this business are self-taught and based on experience, listening to the experts, um looking at the market here and in other countries, especially the developing countries where we have the same pain points, for example, similar to them, no. But for me, I would say a specific course should not be gender biased. Like, say, for example, computer
Yeah.
programming. It should be open to all. No, men and women should have equal opportunities for that. And actually,
Mhm.
I highly agree with Miss Gemma earlier. It all starts at home. We mothers should be raising empowered women, and we should be making this conscious effort to break those gender bias. And actually, teachers, professors play a very important role in the development of every child, a daughter,
Yes.
a lady. So for me, I guess it's really about conditioning the minds of
Mhm.
children, that it should be an equal playing field. Men and women are equal. They should have equal opportunities, and women are capable as men. So yeah, I think that's how I answer that question.
That's definitely like words of wisdom I'm going to take away from this talk. Women are as capable as men. I'm sure other people were inspired by your answer as well. Now I have a question for Miss Tati. What is the specific career to pursue? This coming from an audience member. What is a specific career to pursue as a start if one is considering to switch industries, let's say from food or bakeries to fintech? What is the best way to start?
So I think from my side, right,
Mhm.
it really also to the point of the different speaker, right? It's depends on your passion, and also of your area of expertise. I would think I will start by thinking, what are the skills that I've learned in my previous industry? Let's say if you were in the food industry or baking, what are those skills? What are the specific maybe processes or functions that I was doing
Mhm.
before that I continue to love, and something that I can potentially apply as I shift to, let's say, fintech or e-commerce, or any other industry. So I think I'll typically start with that, and then from there look, okay, what are then the roles that could still fit? I can bring in these, whether it's technical skills, hard skills, or soft skills, that I can still transition from a previous industry into this new industry that I'm moving into. And I think I'm always a proponent of not really hiring for skills, but really hiring for attitude. That's something I
Yes.
also check when I interview someone. What are do they have a learning mindset? That's definitely one key thing I would look into, even if you don't have experience in that industry. But we can see you have such a learning mindset. You're very curious, you're willing to grow, you're willing to go out of your comfort zone. I think with that, you can always move different roles and different industries, and you won't have difficulty finding a new role.
Yes. Thank you. What's beautiful about what we just learned from your answer is, there are no, within reason, of course, but there are no boundaries anymore, or there are very little boundaries for women. Let's say if someone were to transition from the food business, from the pastry business to, let's say, fintech. I like what you said about assess what skills you already have. Let's say, be it in operations, maybe you could scale up from there. There are several ways in how one could succeed, and that's what I really took from your answer. Now, I have a question for anyone who would like to answer this. What is the best background of a course or study or professional experience do you think is best to have for people who want to engage in the field of fintech? Ms. Kim, would you like to answer that one first?
Well, if you wanted to go on fintech, I think probably take a financial course so that you
Yes.
would know the fundamentals, and then probably get um, an innovation program wherein you could probably um, have a different perspective with things. We're born in the revolutionary, wherein there's Web 3.0. Who knows, there will be Web 4.0. There's a lot of disruptions coming. So I'd suggest
Mhm.
if you know what you want, for example, if you wanted to go to fintech, then probably a good background with finance accounting would be uh, sure sure shot
Yes.
um to really keep the ball rolling.
Thank you for that. I totally agree. As someone who fell in love with fintech, let's say by accident, I'm not so like I'm still not so well versed when it comes to fintech or when it comes to finance, financial education or financial inclusivity. But what's beautiful about fintech is there you're able to level the playing field for both genders. One is able to, if someone wants to access certain things, both genders have equal access to it. So on to the final question. Thank you for that. So closing question for everyone. What's your advice to newly graduated young women leaders who would like to enter the Web 3.0 and technology space? What's something they can take away from this talk, aside from what we've discussed today? What's something you would like to tell a younger you, let's say?
I'll probably go first,
Okay.
Bettina. Yeah. For me, I would say don't conform to the, social cultural norms and biases.
Mm-hmm.
As mentioned, women are equally capable as men, and we have equal opportunities. Be proud and vocal about your achievements because it will inspire other women to follow your path.
Yeah.
I think, as mentioned by Kim earlier, empowered women also empowers women, right?
Yes.
Celebrate one another. Fintech, e-commerce, open banking are very exciting, I would say, industries, and women's perspective are much needed in the spaces. You'll be leaders one day, and I hope you get to inspire also your colleagues and yeah, your employees, no, to also be vocal about the role of women in terms of these industries, the fintech, um, e-commerce, crypto, and yeah, open finances.
Thank you for that. What about you, Ms. Gemma? What is something you would tell your younger self who is now in the fintech industry?
I think the first thing is to have the courage.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be out there. If your dream is really to be in fintech or whatever field of endeavor, you have to go for it. But at the same time, you have to know your stuff because, um, success is a lot of hard work. It's not by chance. It's not something that you can wing. you
Mm-hmm.
know I mean, you have to be prepared, you have to study for it or work hard for it. And nowadays with the competition, and I think I tell this to my daughters, working hard is no longer a plus. I think that is a common denominator for anyone who wants to succeed in the workplace. So and also I think I always tell them having a choice is your most fundamental right, and you have to choose wisely, and you have to choose prudently. So who you want to work for, make sure that there will be someone there who can mentor you. It's very important, who can be empathic. I just want to share one story. You know, when I took some interns last summer, and they told me that they have worked with other companies, and one was a CEO of a startup, and they were quite actually emotional when they were telling me the story, that this particular woman CEO, I wrote about it on my LinkedIn, about women empowerment. You know, where our tribe is growing now, women CEO and business leaders. And I think the most important thing we can do, like you say, is empowering other women, especially the young generation, is that, you know, the women CEO have to set examples. And this particular intern, the CEO she worked for during the summer was quite was a bully, actually. You know, it was about negative reinforcement. So I had to kind of like help them understand that, you know, it should there having this mental toxicity in the workplace is not helpful. And and as women business leaders or CEOs, I think, you know, being empathic, being able to mentor them should come from a positive reinforcement, not negative. No bullying, right? It's very important that, you know, now that we are in this position, we should be able to contribute and allow. After all the women who started, you know, fighting for our rights today were all heroic efforts. So we should at least, you know, pass it on, right? So I mean, that's what I would say, actually. Thank you.
Thank you for those very wise words. I definitely learned a lot. Let's say when it comes to using positive reinforcement or setting the values of empathy, of setting the value, the value of work ethic. You know, like I like what you mentioned about being hardworking. It's not, it's a common denominator now. You know,
Yes.
it's not enough to succeed. What you have to do is you have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to put in the work. You have to be willing to, you know, I guess, sacrifice some things for success. But I think that's the beauty of it, because like what you mentioned earlier, it's a journey. So thank you for that. So I'd like to pass on the question to Ms. Tati. So what would you tell your younger self? What did you tell a young leader who just graduated today?
I think for the women out there, right, whether you're aspiring to, you know, work for a fintech or an e-commerce company, or you want to actually establish your own and be an entrepreneur, my advice is really to be bold and courageous. You know, if you have an idea, or, you know, you want to do something, go for it. I know I saw a TED talk one time which said, okay, we raise the boys to be courageous, but girls to be perfect. And I sort of had an epiphany that, oh, you know, that's really true, because I see a lot of women who, you know, they have to be like 100% qualified for a role before they apply for it, whereas, you know, men would really, like, I'm just 80% maybe qualified, but would go for that particular role and, you know, really put themselves out there. So I think that's something that, you know, as women, we need to learn to be more bold and courageous and really put ourselves out there. If you have an idea, go for it. If you need, let's say, you want to start your own business, you need capital, then, you know, really go out there and look for different options that you're able to turn your passion or your dreams into a reality. So I think that's something, you know, I encourage everyone in the call to, you know, to be something, be bold. And as mentioned, you know, that's really going to help break the bias for women in the Philippines.
That's definitely true. I infinitely agree with being bold, putting yourself out there, being courageous, doing your due diligence. I totally believe in that, mostly because now that we are sort of leveling the playing field for both women and men, it's important that we put ourselves out there, like what you mentioned. You know, if you want to find a job, if you want to promote your business, go on LinkedIn, go on Facebook, you know, be courageous to share your story and hopefully inspire others to follow suit. What about you, Miss Ito? What do you think?
Okay. Ba't ako may Miss? Miss Ida. The rest are first name. First question. Now, what first is, what would I tell my younger self? I'd say in that part, and then encouragement. in that part, I'm going to say relax, enjoy the journey, sleep more, and don't be too harsh on yourself. Don't be onion skin, because sometimes we can be sensitive, as what Tatiana mentioned. And, you know, we are our worst critic. And if you have that passion, yeah, it's really, you know, major part of success, as mentioned now by Jem. It's more of the attitude. So if, you know, have that positive reinforcement is very, very good. So for the part of the women out there that's looking, not necessarily fintech, but in any business these days, you will need fintech anyway. So whatever business that you're looking into, I the fact that you women are here and you are inquisitive, that's the first step. Go check what you want to do and what you want to be. That's the second step. And follow that journey and take one step at a time, because it's hard when you do shortcuts, it may hurt you. In the journey, do enjoy. And again, I want to reiterate that positive reinforcement, because it's being around a crowd that's positive does help you a lot. And there's a quote that when you actually get there, don't forget the rest, because women, or real women, do fix each other's crown. So help them and mentor them as well.
Thank you for those beautiful words. I love what you just said about positive reinforcement and reinforcing also what, or reiterating also what Ms. Gemma mentioned, positive reinforcement and, you know, women fixing each other's crowns and not forgetting the rest. As you move up the ladder, as you scale up in your career, it's also very important to be that safe space for other women to succeed, for other women to voice out how they feel, how they want to approach a certain thing. It's always important, like what also Miss Mylene said, empowered women empower other women. So that's something we can definitely take from today. And last but not the least, Miss Kim, what do you think about that? What would you tell your younger self, or someone who just graduated, and someone who aspires to be a leader today?
One is to be bold, and then to be fearless, because fear stops us for achieving our dreams.
Yeah.
It's never too late to follow your dreams, even if you're 30s, on your 40s, or your 50s. So what? You can always start a dream and make it happen. And I'm a young leader, and I'd say I became successful in a very young age because I am not afraid to ask for help. Know where you could ask help, get mentors. You can get mentors from this panel, and at the same time from the books, from the podcast, from the TEDx. You learn a lot from the experiences of other people. um, I'd say for those people who wanted to try working on a workspace, I know we have our own grassroots. Don't let um, those beliefs to really think that you can't be enough. It's so hard for women to think that I'm not enough, I'm not good in that position. Why not
Yeah.
trust on your own capabilities, because you're a woman, right? Empowered women empower women, and you're a woman, you can do it.
That was very encouraging, you know, because sometimes like many women out there today, you know, we sort of feel inadequate. We feel like we're not capable of doing the job we have, or we're not capable of success. But what's beautiful about what you said and what the other powerful women in this panel today said, it's women who help other women out, women who inspire other women to be leaders, to succeed. That's something that could also help move our society forward. And with that, I would like to conclude this webinar. Thank you so much to all of our speakers. But before we leave, before we say goodbye, I'd like to request all of us to open our cameras for a picture taking. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Another one for safety, please. 1, 2, 3. So thank you so much to all of you who joined today. Thank you so much to everyone who attended this webinar. We definitely learned a thing or two, or we learned a lot, hundreds of things actually, from these powerful women who have educated us, who have taken time out of their busy schedules to help us out, help us move forward in society today. We hope you can join us in our future webinars. This has been Bettina Gayoso, and thank you once again. Have a pleasant evening, everyone.
Thank you.